Independent candidates take the majority of seats in the Cayman Islands elections, and in sport, another guilty plea in the FIFA corruption scandal. I'm Dawn Paris, and this is the Caribbean in 10 for Thursday, May 25th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
In this next story, Omadara Mill shares the plans of the Pan American Health Organization to improve healthcare in Tobago. Listen up.
The Zika virus isn't going away anytime soon. So doctors in Tobago who look after the health of mothers and their babies welcomed new information about modern contraceptive devices that can help to reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies.
Independent candidates came out on top in yesterday's historic elections in the Cayman Islands, leaving the question now as to who will form the next government and who will lead that administration. In the first election, in which citizens voted under the equitable system of one man, one vote, 9 independents won seats in the 19-member Legislative Assembly, while the incumbent People's Progressive Movement took 7, and the other 3 went to the Cayman Democratic Party, which was in opposition before the election. Despite the independent candidates' dominance, they did not win the needed 10-seat majority to command control of the government outright. It means a coalition government will have to be formed. Independent candidate Kenneth Bryan pulled off the biggest upset in the election, defeating former Minister of Finance and Economic Development Marco Archer in Georgetown Central. Among those holding on to their seats were former Premier Alden McLaughlin and his party's deputy leader Moses Kirkconnell, as well as head of the Cayman Democratic Party Makiva Bush. Bush had blasted the one-man, one-vote system yesterday before all the results were in, saying that it did not work well for democracy in the Cayman Islands, and he had speculated there would be a low voter turnout because of it. But Supervisor of Elections Wesley Howell was pleased with the number of people who came out to exercise their franchise, saying it was just about what was projected.
Is voting.
So, Reshma, we're completed our polling. Polling stations are now closed. Folks are preparing for the count, and our total persons polled, this includes postal and mobile voting, is 74.8. So we said we would be in that 75 to 80%, so we're just shy 0.2% of that 75. So awesome job to the staff that worked so hard today polling those people, and we're glad that people came out in their numbers.
And over in Venezuela, electoral officials have scheduled long-delayed regional elections for December 10th. But that has failed to calm street protests, as a special assembly to rewrite the nation's constitution is set to take place first. The Electoral Council chief says officials were looking to hold elections for a constituent assembly tasked with rewriting the nation's constitution in July. Under the terms proposed by President Nicolas Maduro, a third of the Assembly's 540 members would be reserved for representatives selected by special constituencies and organizations such as workers and retirees. Critics say such groups are dominated by the ruling socialists, and rather than continue Venezuela's democratic tradition of universal suffrage and direct elections by secret ballot, the new method could tilt the outcome in favor of the government. The concern is that that assembly could decide to change the nation's electoral council or not hold the regional elections at all. Opposition leaders were quick to cry foul, saying they will remain on the streets. Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, is cautioning that the escalating economic losses from disasters are not sustainable and can impede progress on the Sustainable Development Goals. Mohammed was speaking yesterday afternoon at the official opening of the 2017 Global Platform in Cancun, Mexico.
Annually, disasters are costing the global economy some $520 billion and push more than 26 million people into poverty. Economic losses from disasters can wipe out the entire gross domestic product of a low-income country overnight and force millions from their homes. Haiti, for example, lost 120% of its GDP in the 2010 earthquake and 32% of its GDP as a result of Hurricane Matthew last October. And that is why the Sunday Framework puts the focus squarely on prevention.
Mohammed emphasized the need to embrace the paradigm shift from managing disasters to managing the risk of disasters, adding that it was paramount to moving forward on key targets of the Sendai Framework. The 2017 Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction is expected to close tomorrow with clearly defined action plans for reducing losses in disasters. Stay with us, your Midday Sport is next.
21st century. Cuba's musical legacy from slaves, running for peace in Congo, New York's recyclers doing what they can to save the planet, and a young woman scientist who's already changed the world. In Cuba, the musical legacy of 1 million slaves.
¿Qué significa para nosotros eso? Eso es vida. Es nuestra historia.
This week, true to form as the Cleveland Cavaliers, the defending NBA champions, and the glamour team, the Golden State Warriors, appear headed for another NBA final showdown. At West Ham, they defeated Tottenham, a result that benefits Chelsea the most as they set their sights on the Premier League glory in the European soccer scene. And even though the West Indian summer is yet to come, Caribbean cricket fans savor a rare victory.
Continuing with sports, an assistant to former CONCACAF President Jeff Webb pleaded guilty to money laundering conspiracy charges at a federal court in the United States yesterday. Costas Takis, a former general secretary of the Cayman Islands Football Federation, became the latest official to plead guilty in connection with his receipt and transmission of millions of dollars in bribes paid to Webb. The 60-year-old Takis entered the plea more than a year after he was extradited to the U.S. from Switzerland, where he spent 10 months in prison after he was among 7 officials arrested in May 2015 at a Zurich hotel 2 days before FIFA's presidential election. Takis' attorney, Gordon Miller, said his client was the only defendant who had been allowed to plead guilty to a single charge because he is a very minor figure in the case. Sentencing in the case has been set for September 19th, and Takis faces between 41 and 51 months in prison. But his lawyer said he would request that the British citizen, who's out on bail, not serve any more time because most of his time in Switzerland was spent in solitary confinement, which he described as a very onerous detention. And that's where we end Caribbean in 10. Join us again this evening at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.